All right, welcome back to Mind and Magic. I had gotten a pretty good question from one of the members over at Patreon, which if you haven't joined us over there yet, there is a free trial to do so for exclusive content and ad-free early access. But Hidden Ninja writes, I have a few thoughts. At times, I can simply want something, and the things that I have wanted at times, I would think that there isn't kind of any way this will happen. I'll take some small action and somehow synchronicity will come in and do some insane things, and I'll get what I want. No spell required. However, I have no idea how to make synchronicity decide to step in. I'd like to know how the heck I could just get synchronicity to kick in when I want something. Well, that is a bit of a loaded question because there are a few parts to this. First off, you're not the one that decides if synchronicity steps in, because that's what synchronicity is. Synchronicity just seems to happen. It's all happenstance. Everything just happens to line up, like a coincidence. We don't decide if and when synchronicity occurs. That is the domain of the divine. Synchronicity is how magic manifests, as it always manifests in synchronicity. So it's not up to us on whether or not it occurs or when it occurs. However, that said, there are some things that we can do to both give it the best chance of occurring or prevent it from occurring altogether. The previous video on the 3 blocks to manifestation went over the things that prevent it from happening, some of the most common pitfalls. But what we could do to give it the best chance of occurring is essentially what we do in our magical practice. Performing magic for specific things to manifest is essentially lining everything up for our best chance of synchronicity to occur while bringing about our manifestation. And you've pretty much been hitting on it without even realizing what it is that you're doing. Because you're saying that you are wanting something and you'll think about it, and you'll think there isn't a way for it to happen, so you're not really dwelling on it. So you're not having that lust for results that is an absolute block. And then you'll take some small action. And I've always said that magic supports the action and action supports the magic. Longtime viewers of this channel will know that I've said that quite often. Now, one could possibly manifest something without taking action, but if you want to maximize your chances, you should take one or more actions towards that goal. And then sometimes synchronicity will kick in and do the rest. And it seems that's what's been happening to you. Because really, all magic is when it comes to manifesting something is to be able to get an instruction into the subconscious mind, which can be a bit of a trick sometimes. There are ways that we can inadvertently block ourselves from doing so. The lust for results being one of them. It will block things from manifesting because we're dwelling on it too much. But it seems that the times that you have gotten synchronicity to occur with your manifestation, you are able to get that instruction into your subconscious by thinking about it, but then letting it go, but yet still taking some action towards it, and then synchronicity kicked in and met you halfway. This is manifestation magic in its simplest form. And some people can just do that. Some people are just naturals at it to where they have no need for sigils. They have no need for gazing into the candle flame and a host of other tricks to get the instruction into the subconscious. Some people are just really good at putting it in there without all that. And Hidden Ninja here may be one of them. They may not realize exactly what is occurring to be able to fine-tune that, but now that I'm explaining it, he may be able to do so. We get the instruction into the subconscious by dwelling on it, by wanting it, but then after focusing on it, we let it go. He's saying, oh, I'm not going to get it anyway, so there's no reason to dwell on it. That's vitally important. But then also take some action towards it, which is an act of faith, by the way. It's showing that you do think it's possible, contrary to the previous statement of not thinking that there's any way it could happen. Otherwise, you wouldn't be taking the action. And these 3 steps together are a very simplified and condensed version of manifestation magic, without the need for rite or ritual or anything else. However, not everyone is a natural at it, and so people do have difficulties, usually with the letting go. They'll just keep constantly thinking about it, or they'll have difficulty with getting the instruction into the subconscious in the first place. Taking action is typically the easiest part for people. So I hope that helps Hidden Ninja with this first question. And I'd like to say to him that if it's working for you, then continue doing that. There's no need to fix what isn't broken. If you're one of the lucky or talented ones who could just manifest something by dwelling on it for a little bit, letting it go, and then taking a step towards it, by all means stick with that, and I wouldn't fault you otherwise. Because it all depends on what you want out of magic in the first place. If you're just looking to manifest things and get material gains from it, then really that's all you need. You don't have to get into spirit evocation. You don't have to get into a daily ritual structure or invest in a lot of tools and magical implements or take up a crafting skill to make your own. If that's all you want, if that's all you're after. Which brings us to the next part of your question, which is the primary reason I made this video, because I found it to be a great question, which has to do with using magic either as a tool, as in this case for manifestation, or as a practice where you're doing daily work and following a curriculum to be initiated and get something more spiritual and alchemical out of ritual magic as a practice. Hidden Ninja continues. The second thought. You mentioned the neophyte grade and the next grade, but if you only desire to use magic as a tool, then why bother considering a practice? And of course, he's referring to the Golden Dawn system of grades, the Golden Dawn system of magic as a practice. He says, I kind of think magic as a screwdriver or wrench. If I need the tool, I'll just pull it out of the toolbox. But if not, I'll leave it in the toolbox. Just curious your thoughts on why bother with the practice at all. Well, I just kind of answered it before, that it depends on what you want out of magic. Because if manifesting things is all that you want, then there is no reason to have it as a practice. But understand that magic is kind of like an iceberg. And just manifesting things for yourself is the tip of that iceberg. Magic, when done as a practice, as you put it, goes so much deeper than that. You know, I get criticized, and not unwarranted, because I can see both sides of it, that I spend too much time and effort on this channel showing magic as the tool of manifestation, and not enough time on the practice. The programs that I offer on my website, mindofmagick.com, are all of the tool variety. There's a magic tool for all your needs. You want more money? There's the secrets of wealth. You're looking for love? There's spells of love and loss. Looking to protect yourself? There's protection and defense, etc., etc. And yet, sometimes you'll hear me talk of the neophyte grade, or refer to the water grade of practicus and the other grades of the Golden Dawn system of magic, which can throw people. Well, wait, I thought you were talking about just putting an instruction into your mind and letting go and taking action, and I can manifest something, and now you're talking all Golden Dawn grades and initiation curriculums. What's up with that? Well, I have been through that initiation curriculum, so I am going to refer to it quite often. But the reason I talk about using magic as a manifestation tool about half the time is because that's one of the reasons people get into magic in the first place. And this channel, Mind and Magic, is often people's first stop when they're just getting into magic. Because people like shiny things. And what's shinier than being able to control part or all of your reality? Because at first, when you manifest something, that's what you're doing. You're controlling a little part of your reality. You're changing things here and there. That's what magic as a tool is doing. And then when you get a little taste of that, and you realize that, yes, you can, in fact, control part of this reality. You can manifest things into it. After a while, and it will take a while because most people are going to be tempted to just go absolutely nuts and go on a manifesting spree. Do it. Take care of your needs. Get it out of your system. Close those long open accounts of wanting and longing. And then when you're satisfied after, you may think, this is fantastic, but is there more to it? How is this even possible? Is there anything beyond using magic as a tool? And some people will never ask that question. Some people, all they want out of it is to manifest the material, and I wish them the best. Just don't get corrupted on your newfound power of manifestation and say, oh, I'm a god, look at what I can manifest. Don't do that. Sometimes some people, when they learn that they can control parts of their reality, the head can swell quite big without any knowledge or understanding that there's anything even beyond using magic as a tool. Magic as a tool of manifestation is used for changing parts of your reality. Magic as a practice transforms your entire reality, and it does so by transforming and changing you. Magic, just not only as a tool, but used as a practice, is designed to make you the best version of yourself. And it does so by disassembling and strengthening you element by element, and then reassembling those elements into being better and balanced. And as you transform, your reality begins to transform. It's like at the beginning, you're living in a shack, and so you tear down the shack to make room for a new mansion. And I make that analogy not in reference to material wealth. I mean that as spiritual wealth. But your reality is also shifting to reflect that spiritual wealth. Magic is a one-off tool. When you need it, is just changing reality piece by piece. Magic as a practice changes everything. But it is a gradual process, and it's a difficult one. It's not an easy process, and it just doesn't happen overnight. It takes some time and considerable discipline. I'm neither going to sugarcoat it for you, nor am I going to encourage you. To me, it was worth it, but when asked about it, part of me also wants to say, stop, turn around, don't do it. Because transformation isn't always comfortable. In fact, it can be downright painful when balancing you out, depending on where you're weakest. Everybody's going to be different in that regard. It's going to be easier for some than it is for others, depending on how out of balance they were to start. It is an alchemical process. It will change you. And it's not for everyone. It's difficult for busy people to set aside a portion of their day for a new practice every day for the next several years. That's not an easy ask. That's not an easy sell. Most people simply won't have the time, patience, and discipline necessary to make that large of a commitment. That's a lot of daily rituals, reading, meditating, and learning and reciting for one to commit to. But, that's part of the reason why the first grade, the neophyte grade, is a probationary grade. When we talk about the grades of the Golden Dawn magical system, everyone starts at neophyte, and it's really just trying it on for size. This is also where you'll really develop the discipline to get through the other grades by developing a habit of doing it. Once it becomes a habit, you'll just do it automatically. It's just that time of the day to do it. You're already in a routine, its own little ritual of going and doing your practices anyway, because that habit is being established during those first few months. And then it gets so much easier because you're in the habit of doing it. You don't need as much discipline to do it once you're in the habit. And then when you graduate from being a neophyte, You then decide whether or not you want to continue past your probationary grade and into the elemental grades. The one rule being, don't start what you can't finish beyond this point, or you run the risk of being worse off than you were before. You don't want to move on from neophyte to the earth grade of Zelator, 1 equals 10, if you can't make it through portal. You don't want to start disassembling yourself piece by piece, element by element, to not put yourself back together again at the end. So you really have to give it an honest evaluation when coming out of neophyte on whether or not you wish to continue, because which you'll know by the end of if you resonate with it or not. But don't continue just for the sake of continuing. You have to really be honest with yourself if it's right for you, enough to increase your commitment of many months to many years under the threat of being worse off than before if you don't complete it. It's now gone from manifest playtime to something to be taken more seriously. And it should be. It's no small undertaking. It's no small feat to accomplish. It could be quite demanding and quite grueling, but also the most rewarding. It really comes down to how far someone wants to progress past just magic as a tool by way of ritual magic, the practice. One works upon your external reality, the other works upon your internal self, which then transforms your external reality. As above, so below, as within, so without. Each person will only know if it's right for them, or some other system of magic more suits their fancy. I don't discriminate against our witch and Wiccan friends. There are many systems of magic out there, and I'm not the one to tell people which is right for them. That is an incredibly personal choice. Adopting a magical system is an extremely personal choice, and each person can only make it for themselves by being honest with themselves. I want to thank everyone for listening, and Hidden Ninja for the great questions. Check out mindandmagic.com for programs and courses, and I'll leave a link to an older video where I talk about the magical tradition that I most identify with. And I'll see you next time. Take care.